You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
Good morning and welcome to Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News with News Hawks, Reverend Kelly and myself, L. Graham. It's January the 9th, 2023, and we are live here at the Legacy420.com news desk. And we're also live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, CBG TV. Where else, Kelly? We've got several.
Everywhere. We just want to be everywhere. And in every country, too.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. We're reaching all kinds of countries during these broadcasts, which is great. You know?
It's pretty cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is knowing that you can be talking to people in a country that's thousands of miles away in a completely different time zone, and maybe they're changing their laws and using some of the stuff we talk about to help them. Who knows?
Yep, they are. It's happening.
Yeah. So how was the holidays?
It was so good, restful, and great weather. I mean, we're having in our area, which we live not far from each other, very mild January. So that's kind of nice for people that don't really like that heavy snow.
You know, we had some snow over Christmas, some good snow, and then all of a sudden, someone turned the furnace on outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's spring. I think the animals have got to be confused by now. They're probably going, what the heck is going on here? I thought we were hibernating.
Yes, exactly. So it's just like, wow, it's so warm. It was 10 degrees there one day. Yeah. And they're not calling for any super cold temperatures to the end of the month.
No. we're going to barbecue. No problem.
We're gonna Exactly. All right. Well, that's enough of the weather. And let's move on to the news.
Yeah.
All righty. First story up. This is a study or one it's in the works. It's going to be started here as soon as I get it brought up. That's because Health Canada has approved this study that is going to involve Alzheimer's. Company gets Health Canada approval to test cannabis for Alzheimer's, according to the headline at the Growth Hub.
It's wonderful. It's India Globalization Capital Incorporated, and they've received a green light to move forward with phase 2 trial exploring the efficacy of the drug formulation on Alzheimer's disease-related agitation.
In a press release this week, IGC reports it has received no objection letter from Health Canada for approval of the trial. Per Health Canada, all clinical trial applications are subject to a 30-day default review period from the date the complete application has been received by the federal department. Once accepted for review, applications are forwarded for clinical and or quality evaluation and then either authorized, which is no objection letter is issued, or rejected in a satisfactory notice. Non-satisfactory notice is issued.
Right. Now, with the no objection letter in hand, India Globalization Capital is moving forward with its phase 2 multi-center double-blind randomized placebo-controlled trial of the safety and efficacy of, IGC-AD1, which is on agitation in participants with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease.
The trial synopsis notes the aim to assess the efficacy of the oral medication, which is described as a natural THC-based formulation administered in microdoses twice a day for agitation in patients with mild to severe dementia from Alzheimer's disease. So it's going to be THC based.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's be a pharmaceutical based thing for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Caregivers will monitor and record vitals daily over the course of the placebo-controlled study, the synopsis notes. Enrollment is open to those aged 60 and older who have established agitation for at least 2 weeks before their enrollment.
A study published in 2020 noted evidence suggests that the utilization of marijuana products containing both THC and CBD or CBD alone have been effective and safe for use in older people with agitation associated with dementia.
Very nice. So it seems like they're targeting the agitation in
Yeah,
dementia, not perhaps the memory loss or the neurological effects, but overall, maybe the offer of calm, perhaps, with the
yeah,
agitation that comes with the dementia. So that sounds like what's happening.
correct. Yeah.
The cannabinoids were shown to be well tolerated and have few short-term side effects, unlike first-time medications used for dementia behaviors. Further research regarding the safety, efficacy, and variability of these products in older people is needed, says the study authors.
Yeah. Receipt of the non-rejection letter means IGC can begin the trials on IGCAD1 at sites throughout Canada, according to the company's CEO, Ram Mukunda. He says the company already has 3 testing sites signed up and is in negotiations to also get several more sites up and running in Florida, Maryland, Montreal, as well as Montreal. So they're looking at going obviously down in the U.S. with this.
Right, right. Wow. The array of sites will allow IGCs to recruit a diverse population that reflects the demographics of the disease. Receiving the approval is a milestone in our progress towards gaining FDA approval and increases the number of patients with Alzheimer's that we can enroll. Wow.
Well, that's good. That's good. Just so
Mhm.
you know, I closed off the story by mistake. I was thinking the story had ended.
That's no problem. Okay.
But no, that's good to see that. You know, we were talking before the show about, you know, are they looking at to help people with the memory because on it as well, because you know it's funny because cannabis has always been looked at as something that you know made people forget things, and here it was being used in an Alzheimer's situation.
Yeah. The irony.
Yeah. The irony of it, but it's good to see.
Yeah.
You know, I know we had a family member that recently passed away, and yeah, I hope that it comes through and it helps with the agitation end of things.
Yes. Yeah.
So, all right, next. The story says, headline from the Hill, study, 1 in 4 adults with chronic pain turning to cannabis.
Oh, look at those buds.
So, bud.
More than a quarter
Yeah.
of U.S. adults suffering from chronic pain have turned to using cannabis to manage their discomfort. That's according to a new study published in JAMA Open Network.
Researchers at Michigan Medicine surveyed 1,661 adults last spring and with chronic pain who lived in one of the 36 states with active medical cannabis programs and Washington, D.C. About 26% of the survey participants reported using cannabis within the past year to manage pain, according to what the researchers found.
Now, out of those people who said they consumed cannabis to help alleviate pain, more than half reported that the drug led to lower use of prescription opiates, non-opiates, and over-the-counter pain medications.
Excellent. That's good news.
It's really good.
Less than 1% said that their cannabis use resulted in more opioid, non-opioid, or over-the-counter pain medication use. So 1% went the other direction. About 39% of the people who reported using cannabis to treat chronic pain said it led to them taking part in less physical therapy, and 19% said it led to them meditating less in order to manage their pain, according to the study.
Interesting.
All good
24% of people who used cannabis to treat chronic pain said their use resulted in them meditating more. And another 26% that their cannabis use led to a decrease in the use of cognitive behavior therapy, which is often used in combination with medication to treat chronic pain.
And who would think that help with cognitive? People who think the opposite way when it comes to cannabis.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. About 17% said their cannabis use actually led to them increasing the use of cognitive behavior therapy as part of their pain management regime. The fact that patients report substituting cannabis for pain medications so much underscores the need for research on the benefits and risks of using cannabis for chronic pain, according to Mark Beckett, who's assistant professor in the Department of Anesthesiology and director of the Michigan Opioid Prescribing Engagement Network.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Good news.
Good
Love
news.
that. Love that
That's
stuff.
right. Every time you can come out with it says it can knock down the use of opioids,
Yep.
the better.
The better.
That's right. Nasty, nasty stuff. All right. On to our next story, which I'm trying to find here. Okay. I see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It had a different title on it. All righty. We're good to go. Headline in City News says BC is poised for drug decriminalization experiment, but will it help stem the deadly tide?
We can only hope. People living in tents along about 8 blocks of Vancouver's downtown east side roam around on a chilly afternoon as some in the throes of addiction are hunched over on the sidewalk near storefronts.
A woman wearing black and white striped pants strides along East Hastings Street, yelling, apparently at no one, amid the hubbub of a flea market featuring everything from books to clothes and TVs from a bygone era.
Now, the Crosstown Clinic, North America's only facility offering medical-grade injectable heroin, is a few doors down, and Canada's first supervised injection site has been sanctuary across the street since 2003 for those shooting up drugs under the watchful eye of a nurse. Both places operate on a harm reduction model that aims to reduce the risk of overdose.
And save people. While drugs have been used openly in the neighborhood for decades, much of the focus on toxic illicit substances has shifted in recent years to neighborhoods across BC, including in rural communities, where people seeking escape inside their homes are dying alone.
Oh my goodness.
The latest data from BC coroners show that about 14,000 people have died since the province declared a public health emergency in 2016, with most of the deaths occurring in private residences. Alyssa fentanyl was involved in 87% of the deaths in 2021.
Oh, this is a really
Exactly.
hard article to read. Families whose loved ones fatally overdosed have increasingly joined drug users calling for decriminalization of small amounts of drugs for personal use as a way to reduce the stigma associated with criminalization, so people are more likely to access health services combined with other measures stay alive.
Yeah. On January the 31st, BC will become the first jurisdiction in the country to start what will be a 3-year experiment on decriminalization, allowing drug users 18 and over to carry a combined 2.5 grams of opioids like heroin, fentanyl, as well as cocaine, methamphetamine, MDMA. The federal government is currently reviewing an application by the City of Toronto, but it does not include any thresholds.
Wow. Whew.
Mm-hmm.
Brian O'Donnell, spokesperson for the Pure Run BC Association of People on Opiate Maintenance, regularly walks the streets of the downtown east side armed with the medication Noxalone to reverse any overdose. O'Donnell was once in the grip of heroin addiction himself.
He says, I remember what it was like. I remember the struggle. O'Donnell said he used heroin for 25 years before overdosing on fentanyl-laced cannabis. That got him started on a program offering a formulation of methadone for those dependent on opioids. Wow. Someone dusted his cannabis with fentanyl, he says, and that was enough to scare him.
Enough to scare anybody, you'd think.
Yeah.
Whew. O'Donnell has high hopes that decriminalization will remove some of the sting of stigma for people who are struggling with addiction, and he thinks other provinces could follow BC's example.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. He says that if we do succeed in helping people, I'm sure the rest of Canada could do the same. Quickly adding that greater access to a regulated, safer supply of prescription drugs like hydromorphine tablets, or fentanyl patches is part of the answer to stemming the tide of the overdose crisis. Drug users and advocacy groups like Moms Stop the Harm, the Canadian Drug Policy Coalition, and HIV Legal Network are among those who say a threshold of 2.5 grams is not enough for many drug users, including those who live in rural and remote communities where people often buy large quantities of substances when they can access the illicit market. I know, Kelly, at one time that those groups, they wanted it up around 4 grams.
Wow. Whew.
Yeah. 4
It's
and a
so
half
scary to
somewhere.
hear. The underbelly,
Mhm.
right? This is the
Yeah.
underbelly of all of it, and really a conversation that more people should be having. So, wow to them. You know, when I first heard about this kind of method of taking it off the streets and taking it criminally and making it a health problem, I was, of course, scared. But it works, Al. It worked in Portugal. It worked in the
Yeah.
country of Portugal, and it's
Correct.
really stopped the people dying and the big opiate crisis there. So,
Well,
good luck to them for doing.
it can help bring people in where they can get
Yeah,
assistance and get some help. And then if it's based on a prescription, then look at if they're taking, at least they're getting something that's clean versus getting something that could have whatever mixed into it. I was watching one show about some concoction that included
yeah.
even Viagra in it.
Oh, strange.
Yeah.
Strange. My goodness. Well, a quote here saying, "We did not want to see drug dealers or organized crime take advantage of any of the good intention of decriminalization. We know Dial a Dope and groups like that will potentially take advantage of that," referring to services like that deliver illicit drugs.
He says that we want to see a system that is actually not promoting the use of street drugs, but actually trying to help support people and individuals.
Right, right. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
exactly. Okay.
long
Yeah, it's
article, but
it's a
very
long
important
article.
and a good conversation.
Exactly. Exactly. It's an important conversation. There's no doubt about that. And it's something, if it goes good there in PC, and as I mentioned, Toronto has put their letter in as well,
Hmm.
looking for this. Just so people can get high. They're doing it to save people,
People are dying. What did
right?
they say? 14,000
So
people since
yeah,
2016?
yeah,
14,000 in 6 years, 7 years. Too many.
yeah, yeah. Was it 14 or 41? Lots of people. Too many, right, Kelly?
Thousands. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. On to the next story. Headline says revoked personal medical cannabis production registrations surge in Canada, according to MJ Biz Daily.
Here we go. Health Canada's cracking down on the alleged abuse of medical cannabis access via the Personal and Designated Production Program.
Yep. Canada's personal and designated production program allows patients to grow a certain quantity of cannabis for themselves or by a designated person. The number of personal and designated production registrations refused or revoked tripled through the first 3 quarters of 2022 compared to 2021, according to the new data.
Wow. Health Canada
That's
says that's a lot. They're
yeah.
strengthening their efforts to address the misuse within the program. I guess there's just been so many reports of it in criminal activity. From January 1st, 2022 through September 30th, 2022, roughly 732 registration for the personal and designated production program were refused or revoked. Just
Wow.
revoked.
Oh, that's well, as you can see, the next line says the previous year that figure was 227. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy. I don't know. Maybe that's why the system speeded up. I know I got mine back to me within a month. I was really surprised, and
Yeah.
that happened over Christmas time.
Huh.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Despite the significant increase in enforcement, the figure represents a small fraction of the 35,754 personal and designated production registrations that are active with Health Canada as of March 2022.
Okay, well, Health Canada has seen a progressive and concerning increase in the average daily amount of cannabis for medical purposes being authorized by some healthcare practitioners for personal and designated production.
Yeah. As an example, Health Canada said the average daily amount of medical cannabis authorized by healthcare practitioners for patients who access cannabis from federal licensed producers remain constant at about 2.1 grams per day.
The
However,
regulator, oh, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
The regulator said the average daily authorized amount for personal and designated production is approximately 37 grams per day. That seems pretty high for an average.
Well, it's okay. I guess what they're saying, okay, the average daily amount of medical cannabis authorized by health practitioners
Yeah,
for patients is 2.1. The average daily authorized amount for personal
that's a
and
big gap.
designated production is 37. But it's the doctors who still authorize it for the patients.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
seeing that perhaps they're misauthorizing or something. Is that what
yeah, yeah,
they're saying here?
yeah,
If the average is there, but the average is 2.1 grams. I don't know. I know very few people that would use
yeah. Well, I
37
guess they're
grams a
saying like
day.
for people
Jack
who are
Kungle, maybe.
for people who are using the medical system and ordering it online from from the licensed producers,
Right,
their average is 2.1. But
right.
the people who are growing their own cannabis,
Are saying
their
that their
average
average.
is 37 grams a day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Health Canada has refused or revoked more than 1,430 registrations since the beginning of the personal and designated production program. Wow. Lots have been turned down.
Now, there's a quote here from the regulator saying Health Canada is concerned that high daily authorized amounts are, in some instances, leading to abuse of the access to cannabis for medical purposes framework and are undermining the integrity of a system that many patients rely on to access cannabis to address their medical needs. I hope that is not happening, but I know that it is. It's terrible. They shouldn't be.
Unfortunately, when people are authorized to grow 20 plants and they get caught with 5,000
Yeah,
plants,
those
those
ones.
people ruin it for
Yeah.
those who do stay within within the laws, who
That are the
people.
medical patients,
Yeah,
I don't know any medical patients that need 5,000 plants on their own per season.
I don't either, but they say, well, treatment options remain a decision best made in consultation between a patient and their healthcare practitioner. High daily authorized amounts may pose a risk to public health and public safety, including the risk of cannabis being diverted to the illicit market.
Well, the examples of factors that Health Canada says it might consider when making a decision to refuse or revoke a registration, okay,
Yep.
and the quantity of daily authorized cannabis by a healthcare practitioner. So if they're asking for an unusual quantity.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember at one time they were calling anybody that had 10 grams. They were calling the
Right,
doctors
right,
at one time. Yeah.
right.
Non-compliance or history of non-compliance with the Cannabis Act and regulations will also be a problem. Criminal activity relevant to public health and safety, including diversion. Obviously, if you're diverting it,
Yeah,
that's going to be a big issue.
right.
And healthcare practitioners' involvement with criminal activities in relation to their prescribing
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
cannabis.
might get a little call if your practitioner's in a bit of hot water.
Yeah. Well, they get calls when they're over prescribing opiates.
Right, of course, and so they should,
Yeah, because they're
right?
killing people with them.
Right? So let's have that
Yeah.
conversation too.
All right. Last story before we go to break.
This one.
Yeah, it's a marijuana moment. Illinois hits marijuana milestone with a record 1.5 billion in adult use sales in 2022.
In
Kelly,
in
like that's
one
state.
state, in one state in the United States of America.
Yeah.
Illinois' cannabis sales reached that record high, and it's that past December marks the strongest sale month to date. Information was released this Friday. Wow.
Yeah. The Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation says that the 2022 set adult use cannabis sales records in all categories it tracks. That includes yearly adult use cannabis sales totals of $1.5 billion, which is 12% higher than the 2021 totals of 1.4 almost, and 131% higher than 2021. Wow.
Wow.
Growth spurt. What, eh?
One state. Now, on a
Yeah.
monthly basis, December this past year set a new record with adults spending $143 million, almost $144 million in 1 month.
Yeah.
Wow. And then December, the previous year before that, was also very close to that too. So they like their cannabis around Christmas time.
They
in
sure
Illinois.
do. There's a list. There's a list there of the sales
Yeah.
for the month from 2022.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's Chicago.
Yeah,
It's all
you can
from
see
Chicago.
that, eh? The Christmas. I've got the cursor there. 140. Yeah.
Whew.
Christmas time, biggest time. According to Governor J.P. Pritzker,
Yep.
he says, when I signed the Cannabis Regulation and Tax Act into law in 2019, we set out on an ambitious goal to create the most equitable and economically prosperous cannabis industry in the nation. Our data from 2022 shows that we are well on our way towards making that idea a reality.
Oh, well done, government JB. Well, he likes his money. The new figures don't include medical cannabis sales, of course. They're tracked separately. Officials also touted that the fact that Illinois currently has 113 retail dispensaries operating in the state, including 3 social equity licenses that were approved last year after a protracted effort by the administration to start fulfilling equity goals. Good job.
Now they got 113 in the state in Illinois. So we got that in Toronto.
I know, I do. Get that in Peterborough. No.
Yeah, well, not
Feels
quite,
like
but
feels like
now according to Pritzker, not only did we break our previous sales record by more than 12% with a total of more than $1.5 billion, we also saw the first of our social equity adult use cannabis dispensaries open their doors for business, paving the way for an even stronger 2023.
Nice. IDF PR Secretary Mary Tretto said that 2022 marks the second straight year that Illinois' adult use cannabis industry has seen record growth. We're excited for what the future holds for the most equitable cannabis industry in the country.
Yeah, they say that they hit the 1 billion mark 2 months earlier than they did the previous year. So they're just flying.
Well done.
Well done. All right, let's finish that story off right there. Yeah. Way to go, Illinois. $1.5 billion. Wow. Lots of sales. No doubt about that. All right, it's break time. Time to medicate. Kelly and I will be right back after our session. You're watching Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News here on the Pace Radio Network.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
Are you watching television on Roku, Fire, maybe an Apple TV or even Chromecast? If you are, then download the Boxcast app and search for CBG TV.
CBG TV broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com. You're watching the Cannabis Broadcasting Group here at cbgtv.com.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Legacy 420 have an awesome array of cannabis-infused beverages, from pop to Nature's Nectar's teas, all in amazing flavors. What a selection! We even have a delicious mango-infused juice, and let me tell you, it's delicious.
Everything is infused in-house, so we buy our syrup from, the same place where everybody else buys their syrup for their pop, and the infusion is done in the lab. It's all canned here, labeled here, produced 100% on Tyndonega.
We have two lines of drinks. One is called our Nature's Nectar. That was our original line that we came out with. And then we also have a line under the Red E brand. We have them in 10 milligrams, 30 milligram, and 60 milligram cans.
What a great selection for a get-together with friends or after a long day. Remember, if you want to wet your whistle with on-site lab-tested products, come see your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Hey, we're back from a medication session, and we are live with psychedelics and cannabis education news here on the Pace Network's YouTube channel, Facebook pages, on and on and on, Twitter. They just keep going. They just keep coming. Everywhere. That's right. Okay. First story after the break. Headline says, Montreal shop seeing surging interest in mushrooms, according to CTV News. Look at them.
From foraging to decorating and everything in between, a Montreal store dedicated entirely to mushrooms is continuing to grow.
My Michael Boutique opened its doors 18 years ago, and since then, interest in mushrooms has surged with each passing year. There used to be a lot of fear around fungi, but there's less of it now, according to its owner, Judith Noel Gagne.
That's a long time to be open. She explained, we know now the knowledge is more available, that it's not so dangerous. The store is dedicated to all things mushrooms. There's an extensive selection of books, fresh and dried mushrooms, and tools set for growing and harvesting.
Yeah, when mushrooms are in season, they also offer foraging expeditions.
Wow. That looks so cute. She says we show you how to pick them, what to avoid, how to cook with them safely, and how to keep them for long term. Wow.
Yeah. Clients have become so interested in mushrooms, they produce their own and the root of fungus in-house. The store also sells kits so people can grow their own edible mushrooms at home. There you go.
Ooh, I wonder if they're the magic kind. She says, right? Great activity.
Well,
it's super easy. You have a chance to see mushrooms growing, pick it, you could cook it. It's really a full circle of joy.
That's right. Exactly. If you can grow these mushrooms, you could probably grow the magic ones too.
Yeah.
That's right. They are full of umama. I'm not sure how to pronounce that word. That is the flavor enhancer. So if you have a mushroom in your dish, it will enhance the flavor of all ingredients. It's easy to see why mushrooms are so fascinating, integral to the life of a forest. They feed animals, some decay dead organic matter, while others live in synapses with trees.
Okay, and that's just the start. Ganyan said there's a lot of surprises in the world of mushrooms. The first thing is that they're made of chitin. It's a complex sugar that's also part of exoskeleton of the insect. We would say that the mushrooms are more close to insects than plants, for example. Ooh, that's very interesting.
That chitin is what Cindy has talked about, where she talks about they use a like a lime or lemon juice
Right.
in order to break this down, because that can cause the stomach pains that people go through when they eat magic mushrooms.
Interesting.
It's called lemon
Okay.
teching or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When it comes to choosing favorites, Ganya says it's impossible. It's not like I like one mushroom. I love them all, depending on the season.
Very good.
Yeah,
Thank you
there you
very
go.
much. Yeah.
So even though it wasn't specific to magic mushrooms,
Yeah.
mushrooms are important as a health end too. I've recently been talking with some people who are helping patients, and part of the thing is dealing with mushrooms, but they're regular mushrooms. They're not
Right.
full of psilocybin.
There's a lot of studies being shown that say that turkey tail, which is a non-magic mushroom, actually helps cure breast cancer.
Yeah, lion's
Yeah.
mane is
Lion's
another one
mane.
that
Yep.
people talk a lot about.
Not intoxicating or whatever we say.
Exactly, and it's good. That one apparently is good for Alzheimer's or dementia as well. So,
Love that.
all right, next story. Here we go. And boy, we need this in Canada, but it's happening in Colombia. Mugglehead Magazine says that Colombia includes medical cannabis in mandatory insurance coverage.
Right. That's
Boy,
right.
it would help a lot of people here.
So good. Last week, the Colombian Minister of Health reaffirmed the inclusion of medical cannabis in the list of mandatory insurance-covered medications as of January this year. On December 30th, Resolution 2808 was signed by Minister of Health, which integrates the plant along with other government-funded medications.
Nice. The government also reevaluated medical conditions where medical practitioners have found moderate to strong evidence that cannabis is an effective treatment. These conditions evaluated by the IETS include chronic and neuropathic pain, oncology pain, sleep disorders, epilepsy, and fibro.
Now, on Thursday, Corone Life Sciences Corp also announced that it signed a first-of-its-kind contract with one of the country's largest insurance companies with more than 1.2 million insured individuals.
During the first half of 2022, insurance covers prescriptions alone represented more than 90% of the company's cannabis sales in Colombia. 90% of the sales. With a patient base of more than 25,000 patients, they will immediately resume filling insurance-covered prescriptions through its clinic network.
Okay. It's the first time an insurance company in Latin America is contracting medical cannabis-specific services and products. This represents an opportunity for Curon and Zerenia to expand its client and patient base within Colombia, while continuing to differentiate itself and its unparalleled expertise in medical cannabis and proprietary scientific evidence.
Yep, they say today is a great day for patients in Colombia. We welcome the decision from the new Colombian government to categorically mandate insurance coverage for our medical cannabis products. Yeah, we need that here in Canada.
We really do. We really do.
Yeah, we really do. It's so many could benefit from it.
Yeah.
There's been some things that I know where there is some coverage where it's been limited to certain conditions, and there's limits to the amount.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's wonderful news, and hopefully it'll happen over here.
Yeah, just so you know, Kimberly says, wow. Insurance coverage. So, good stuff. I don't know Kimberly, but, I'm sure she agrees that will help a lot of patients. You can help a lot of patients here.
Absolutely.
All right. On to our next story. Maybe this is for you.
I think so.
Headline says, Church uses psychedelics to experience divine presence.
In Berkeley's Portal Community Center near Ashby Bart Station, Pastor Bob Otis sits at a table surrounded by psychedelic plants. The room smells of incense and light, filtered through stained glass windows, creates colorful patterns on the sepia-colored walls. The pastor has a calm and open demeanor and is dressed casually in colorful garments, a t-shirt and jeans. a contrast to the austere attire of many church leaders.
Today, the center is hosting the Sacred Garden Community Church's Sunday satsang, a spiritual service attended by about 60 members of the church every week, both virtually and in person. The hours are spent reflecting on divine presence, higher consciousness, universal source, or what other religions might call God.
The big difference is that Sacred Garden is a religious institution dedicated to helping its members experience what the church calls divine presence in this lifetime through the use of psychedelics, otherwise known as entheogens. These are substances, in this case plants, that induce alterations in perception, mood, and cognition. Common types include psychedelic mushrooms, peyote, and ayahuasca.
The Portal Center, where the members meet, is dedicated to serving entheogen-focused groups. Entheogens are not consumed at Sunday's satsangs, however, but rather at plant ceremonies that are held twice a month for initiated church members in locations like Redwood Groves. The pastor was not very forthcoming with details about the ceremony, but said psychedelics are a key part of their practice as they allow members to try to connect with their divine presence by accessing non-traditional states of consciousness. On the other hand, it is dedicated to community integration. Members process their psychedelic experiences and learn to integrate their lessons into everyday life.
Wow. Now, Pastor Bob says, if we want to be a healthy church, we really need to offer the constellation of resources that surround the ceremony that allow you to have a safe and healthy practice.
Anyone interested in the church, what the pastor calls seekers, can attend public community events. In order to become a seeker, you have to register through their website, which involves signing up for a monthly membership at a $23 fee, though there are scholarships available if the seeker is unable to cover the funds. That's good. Once you are registered as a seeker, you are asked to attend at least 8 community events over the course of 3 months in order to become a confirmed practitioner. After that, you are allowed to participate in the bi-monthly sacred plant ceremonies.
Wow. The ceremonies currently involve psychedelic substances like salvia, which is a psychoactive plant from the mint family, MDMA, a stimulant more commonly known as ecstasy or Molly, and psilocybin mushrooms. The church has an active liturgy committee that assesses any new substances, or what the church calls sacraments, that practices might want to add to the ceremony offerings.
And they say psychedelics aren't for everybody. Say if someone is struggling with a recent harm trauma, these folks I don't recommend engaging with estrogen experience, at least until after engaging with some clinical work to see where you're at. Must be the building. So there you go.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that they're doing that. It's nice to hear. So as you know, we're going to be doing monthly services at our Keene Church that involve our nug swap. Well, part of that is a satsang. So when you were saying the word, I was like, yeah, satsang. That's what we're doing on Sundays. So it seems like we have a lot of synergy with their church down there.
I've never seen the word. And just so you know, Kimberly also agrees that we need them here in Canada.
Well, Kimberly's going to have to come.
There you go. Yeah. Keen. All right. On to our next story. As I bring it up, some people who work out. Here we go again, fighting that lazy tag. As this headline here in Leafly says, can cannabis help your workout?
Says here, nothing beats being in a flow of a kick-ass workout, whether your feet are pounding the pavement, your arms are pumping while lifting kettlebells, or your glutes firing while swimming across a pool. A great workout session will leave you feeling fantastic.
The problem for many, though, is finding the motivation to get started. When the moment comes to tie on your running shoes, waves of excuses can quell the best of intentions to get moving. But for some people, cannabis may be the answer to overcoming workout apathy and enjoying exercise. While there's long been an assumption that cannabis users are less likely to work out, thanks to stereotypes of sedentary stoners, there's growing evidence that cannabis users have a positive relationship with exercise.
That's right. Saying here, why do people use cannabis before or after a workout? Well, much of our understanding about cannabis and exercise comes from surveys and anecdotal reports over the last few years. Factors such as recreational legalization, increased access to cannabis, and decreased perception of risk have made researchers curious to learn about how the plant influences different aspects of lifestyle and health. However, the federal restrictions make it challenging to run controlled cannabis studies.
In a survey of 605 cannabis users, creatively named the new runner's high, as many as 81.7% of participants endorsed consuming cannabis with exercise. 81.7% endorsed it. The majority of these users cited specific benefits, such as increasing motivation. Wow, who would have thought that, eh? Enhanced enjoyment and a more rapidly recovery. Additionally, 37.5% claimed it improved performance.
Now, consumers showed preferences in the method of consumption too. Cannabis flower and concentrates were more commonly used than edibles by those who worked out with cannabis.
Researchers dug further into the data to find out more about the exercise habits of people who use cannabis for up to 4 hours before or after they engage in exercise. Of those surveyed, 69% used cannabis within 1 hour before exercise, and 82% used cannabis within 4 hours after exercise. 67% of participants opted for cannabis both during and after exercise.
Wow. Consumers carried out aerobic exercise like running on an average of 159.7 minutes a week. Wow. Compared to those who didn't consume cannabis at all, and they averaged for 103 minutes. Wow.
Wow, look at that, eh? 40% of these cannabis consumers met or exceeded the recommendations of the American College of Sports Medicine to complete a minimum of 150 minutes of aerobic exercise per week, while only 28% of non-consumers did.
Other fascinating data collected by Whitney Ogle, a physical therapist in cannabis research, showed that 131 survey participants reported more than 55 physical activities they'd enjoyed while high. Wow, 60% like to hike, 58 favored yoga. I don't do yoga without it. 50% lean towards aerobic machines, and those can be very stimulating. Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Shows you.
I've lost where you were on there, but that's fine. We'll finish
That's
up
fine.
things there.
That's awesome.
I'm in the hiker category. That's my exercise.
Yeah.
We've got room here, so I take the dogs out a couple times a day, get my exercise, and I always medicate while
Always.
exercise.
Right?
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
dogs
exactly.
appreciate it too. They get contact high from you.
I posted a
like their-
picture the other day. I was out with the dogs
Yeah.
walking. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. All right.
Beautiful.
Our last story of the day.
Okay. What's going on with
Headline
this
says from CBC News: Never use St. John's cannabis production facility. Still idle after 2 years.
What?
2 years.
What? Look at that. Look at that building.
Yeah.
It was built in the White Hills area of St. John's, and it was built for canopy growth with the capacity to grow up to 18,000 kilograms of high quality cannabis annually.
But more than 2 years after the Ontario-based cannabis company pulled out of the plan, the future of the massive, empty structure remains uncertain.
Canopy's own
This is
documents
Canopy's
show
own
them.
document.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think we're a little bit delayed here.
Yeah, probably. Okay, their own documents show that 2018, the company committed to pay more than $24 million over 5 years to a number company that owns it.
Those documents also show Canopy has the option to purchase the production facility at the end of that 5-year period. On January 5th, in an email to CBC News, Canopy confirmed it continues to lease the land, but said it isn't ready to talk about next steps.
The 21,000 square foot production facility that sits on a 12-acre site has been ready to start production for more than 2 years. Everything is ready. Photos posted by the construction management show off the $90 million facility's pristine boiler room, pump room, open concept office space, and staff lounge.
What's going on there? It was never touched, never used.
Never used.
In November of this past year, Canopy sold its $40 million New Brunswick production facility to another cannabis company.
Yeah. And on January the 3rd, 2023, which was just last week, Canopy announced it has finalized the sale of all of its Canadian retail stores, including those in Newfoundland and Labrador. In 2017, the provincial government released details in an agreement that it said will ensure Newfoundland and Labrador has a safe and secure supply of cannabis when prohibition ends. Well, they never even got started.
Canopy Growth said it would provide up to 8,000 kilograms of cannabis and related products to the province annually under a 2-year agreement with an optional 1-year extension.
It also promised to build a cannabis production facility that it said would create about 145 jobs. And at the time, Canopy's now former CEO Bruce Luton said, "We're going to be invested here permanently." Oh, God.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. It's never been touched. This is the staff room here that's pictured. The break was to continue until the company recovered its investment, maximum of $40 million. In 2020, Canopy Growth announced its plans had changed.
Yeah. Now, they closed their operations in St. John's, Fredericton, New Brunswick, Edmonton, Bowmanville, Ontario, and its outdoor growing facility in Saskatchewan. Oh, close.
Mm-mm. Jobs.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Canopy.
Big facility sitting there not being used.
Yep.
Yeah. And just so you know, Kimberly's still with us. She says, "What a joke and what a waste for Newfoundland, St. John's, Newfoundland."
Right? Thanks for watching, Kimberly Edwards.
Yes. Thank you, Kimberly. So there you go. There's our news for the day.
Yeah.
Before we go, we got a couple minutes before I hit the closing button. I bought myself a pre-rolled joint. I don't know if you can see it there. It's a Remo joint. Remo's pre-roll joints. It's from Remo Farms, and it's an infused joint.
Yeah.
Let me just read that off. It's got it says it's equivalent to 8 grams of cannabis in one joint. It's equivalent to 8 grams of cannabis. It's a 2-gram joint.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2-gram joint that's infused with diamonds and kif. And they say that's equivalent, all that's in there is equivalent to 8 grams of cannabis.
In one joint.
Yeah, that's right. So I lit it up yesterday with a friend of mine.
Okay.
And after having it for a week, wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, when I was going to smoke it.
Right.
So we're squishing, making some rosin last night, and so I smoked the joint with him. Hey, and 10 minutes into it, he was done. That's enough for me. So I kept smoking it for a few more minutes, and I thought, well, maybe I'll keep some of this for another time.
Yeah, right? For another time.
And I figured that joint would probably burn for about 20 or 25 minutes.
Wow.
The full joint to do the whole thing.
Wow.
It'd be great for a party, going out with friends.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit of a big joint to smoke by yourself, unless you want to. That's fine. If you can do it, great. But if you can't, some people might be intimidated by the size. it looks like 2 or 3 joints, like a regular joints, like as far as its length and it's coned, right?
Right.
And it people might be concerned that, oh, that's too big of a joint, or that's too much in it. I'd say smoke some of it and put it out and smoke some of it later.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
For the whole night. It'll last you the whole night.
It'll last you. The smoke that was rolling off it, I couldn't believe. The paper was glistening from the diamonds and melting in it.
Come on.
Taste was great. That we had a little bit at the beginning of a burn issue, but it might have been because of the way it was lit versus more where the joint was. I'm not sure the exact cause, but we straightened that all out and it just burned right along. And it was good. It took me 3 stores or 4 stores.
Yeah.
Before I found one, and one of the stores offered to order it in. And
very good.
One store said that they wouldn't order it in because they didn't think they'd have a customer base for 2-gram joints. Yeah.
Right here? Right there?
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I ever have a grow up tournament down the road or anything like that, I'm gonna have to grab some of these. Now, like it's a 2-gram joint equivalent to 8 grams of cannabis, right?
Yes.
So it's not a $10 joint.
Okay, that's good to know.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It lists. Yeah, the stores can set their own prices with they get some little bit of movement in it.
Right.
But online they were $41 for a joint. People were, holy smokes,
but for
$41.
but you get a equivalent of 8 grams, and it lasts you a little while. It's a luxury item. Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Smoke it with 4 or 5 of your friends, maybe 6.
Yeah, maybe 6.
Maybe
it's a good
6.
Deal. I think
That's
right
right.
now the company that made that owes you some advertising royalties right now, Al. Send Al the check, please.
Yeah. Well, you never know. I'll be talking to them someday. I know I posted it on Facebook, and I know Remo has shared it and thanked me for the review of his doobies. So
yeah, good.
All right, you got anything you want to say before we go?
Everybody have a great day. See you next week.
All right, from the Legacy420.com news desk, that's our PACE news report for January the 9th, 2023. And thanks to our buds at Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, as well as Legacy420.com. And in closing, we'd like to say thank you to you for watching. And please don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.